In the Pistis Sophia, one of the most complete Gnostic texts ever recovered, there's a chapter the church tried to erase from every manuscript they could find. It's the chapter where Jesus gathers his inner circle on the Mount of Olives and teaches them something the prophets could never access, a biological activation sequence that transforms the human body from dense matter into light, not metaphorically, not symbolically, literally. Jesus called it the body of light, and he didn't describe it as something you attain after death or through years of spiritual purification. He taught it as a switch, a sequence you can activate in your current physical body that makes you untouchable to archons, invisible to the harvest system, and capable of perceiving dimensions the demiurge designed humans to never see. The text says, "The Savior taught the disciples the mystery of the robe of light. When you clothe yourself in this garment, the rulers cannot perceive you. The archons cannot touch you. You become as one who has already ascended, while still walking in the flesh." The early Gnostic communities knew exactly what this meant. They practiced the activation sequence in secret. They passed it from teacher to student, hidden behind parables and coded language, and it worked. Chosen ones who activated their body of light reported something that terrified the church. They stopped being vulnerable to demonic oppression. They could see spiritual entities with physical eyes. They moved through the world in a frequency so high that lower dimensional beings couldn't lock onto them. And most dangerously for the church's control system, they no longer needed priests, rituals, or institutional religion to access the divine because they had become walking portals to the monad. The church removed this chapter from every accepted text because they couldn't allow Christians to know that Jesus taught a specific technique, a biological process that any chosen one could activate, without permission, without intermediaries, without the church at all. If people knew they could transform their own bodies into light, what would they need salvation through the church for? What would they need sacraments for? The entire system of spiritual gatekeeping collapses when protection and ascension become this direct, this accessible, this undeniable. Tonight, you're going to learn the exact activation sequence Jesus taught. You're going to understand why it works at the level of quantum biology. And by the end of this video, you're going to know whether you're ready to activate it tonight, because once you start this process, it's irreversible. Your body will begin converting from carbon-based density into crystalline light frequency, and there's no going back to unconscious existence. If you're activating your body of light tonight, comment "light body activated" right now. The reason the church had to suppress the body of light teaching isn't just theological, it's biological. Because what Jesus taught his inner circle wasn't a metaphor about becoming more spiritual or enlightened. It was a precise instruction manual for activating dormant systems in the human body that the demiurge intentionally shut down when he designed the physical form. You've been taught that the human body is just flesh, just matter, just a biological machine that lives and dies, and that's it. But that's the lie the archons need you to believe, because if you knew what your body actually is, if you understood the technology embedded in your DNA and your energy centers and your nervous system, you would realize you're not trapped in matter. You're light that's been condensed into matter. And the moment you remember how to reverse that condensation, you become something the archons cannot control. The body of light isn't something you build from scratch. It's already there. You were born with it. Every human has the template encoded in their cellular structure, but for most people, it stays dormant their entire lives because the activation sequence requires something the demiurge made sure most humans would never access: recognition. You have to recognize what you are before the light body will respond. You have to know, not believe, not hope, but know with absolute certainty that you are not this dense physical form. You are infinite consciousness, temporarily wearing a material suit. And the moment that recognition stabilizes in your awareness, the body begins to respond. It starts remembering its original design. It starts converting back into the frequency it was before the demiurge compressed it into flesh. Jesus understood something about human biology that modern science is only now beginning to rediscover. The body isn't static. It's not fixed. It's a frequency pattern held together by consciousness. And when consciousness shifts, the body shifts with it. Every cell in your body is constantly vibrating. Right now, as you're watching this, your cells are oscillating at a specific frequency. That frequency determines whether your body behaves as dense matter or as light. Most humans are locked into a low-frequency range. Their cells vibrate slowly. Their bodies feel heavy. They experience fatigue, pain, disease, aging. That's not because the body is designed to decay. That's because the frequency they're holding is the frequency of matter, of separation, of the material prison the demiurge built. But when you activate the body of light, your cellular frequency begins to accelerate. Your cells start vibrating faster, and as they speed up, they become less dense. They start emitting light instead of just reflecting it. And eventually, if you sustain the activation long enough, your entire physical form begins to shift from carbon-based biological tissue into crystalline light-based structure. This isn't science fiction. This is how Jesus walked through walls. This is how he appeared and disappeared. This is how he ascended. He didn't leave his body behind. He converted it. He activated the light body fully, and his physical form transformed into a frequency so high it could no longer be perceived by those still locked in dense matter consciousness. The activation sequence Jesus taught has 7 stages, and each stage corresponds to one of the 7 primary energy centers in the body. The Church calls them sins, the Gnostics call them seals, the Hindus call them chakras, but what they actually are is frequency locks. 7 biological switches that the demiurge installed in the human design to keep you locked in low-frequency consciousness. As long as those locks stay closed, your light body stays dormant. Your cells stay dense. You stay trapped in the harvest cycle. But the moment you learn to open those locks in the correct sequence, the light body activates. And once it's activated, the archons lose access to you completely because you're no longer vibrating at a frequency they can perceive or manipulate. Jesus taught his disciples that the activation doesn't happen through meditation, through fasting, through rituals, or through prayer to external gods. It happens through internal recognition at each of the 7 centers. You move your awareness through your body systematically, and at each energy center, you speak a recognition statement, not an affirmation, not a wish, a declaration of truth that your consciousness knows and your cells respond to. And the moment the recognition is spoken at each center, the seal breaks, the lock opens, that energy center begins to activate, and the light body starts to come online piece by piece, until all 7 centers are open and the full body of light is operational. Most people have heard of chakras, but they've been taught to treat them as abstract spiritual concepts, as colorful wheels you visualize during meditation. That's not what they are. The 7 centers are literal biological structures. They're nodes in your nervous system where consciousness interfaces directly with matter, and each node is locked by a specific frequency distortion that the demiurge embedded in the design. The first center at the base of your spine is locked by the frequency of fear. As long as you're operating in survival fear, as long as you're afraid of death, afraid of loss, afraid of lack, that center stays sealed. Your energy can't rise. Your light body can't activate. The second center below your navel is locked by the frequency of guilt and shame. As long as you're carrying guilt about your desires, shame about your body, shame about your existence, that center stays sealed. The third center at your solar plexus is locked by the frequency of powerlessness. As long as you believe you're a victim, as long as you think external forces control you, that center stays sealed. The fourth center at your heart is locked by the frequency of separation. As long as you perceive yourself as separate from others, separate from source, separate from the infinite, that center stays sealed. The fifth center at your throat is locked by the frequency of silence. As long as you're afraid to speak your truth, afraid to declare your nature, that center stays sealed. The sixth center between your eyebrows is locked by the frequency of illusion. As long as you believe the material world is the only reality, that center stays sealed. And the seventh center at the crown of your head is locked by the frequency of separation from the monad. As long as you think you're disconnected from source, that center stays sealed. Jesus taught his inner circle that these locks weren't installed to punish you. They were installed to control you. Because, as long as those 7 centers stay locked, your consciousness stays compressed into the lower 3 centers. You live in survival mode, in desire mode, in power-seeking mode. You stay trapped in the cycle of fear, craving, and control. You never access the higher centers, where you would perceive your true nature. You never activate the light body. You stay harvest able. But the moment you unlock all 7 centers in sequence, the energy that's been trapped at the base of your spine begins to rise. It moves up through your body like a wave of liquid light, and as it passes through each center, it activates that center's dormant function. Your fear dissolves, your shame dissolves, your sense of powerlessness dissolves, your perception of separation dissolves, and in place of those frequencies, you begin to feel and perceive from monad consciousness. You feel fearless, not because you're forcing yourself to be brave, but because fear can't exist in a body vibrating at light frequency. You feel whole, not because you convinced yourself you're worthy, but because separation consciousness can't exist when your heart center is fully open. You feel powerful, not because you're dominating anything, but because you recognize you are the creative force itself, temporarily localized in a human form. The activation sequence Jesus taught is precise, and it must be done in order. You can't skip steps. You can't open the 7th center without opening the first 6. The energy has to rise sequentially, or the activation won't stabilize. Here's the sequence exactly as Jesus taught it to the chosen ones in the Pistis Sophia. You're going to sit in a quiet space where you won't be disturbed for at least 20 minutes. This isn't meditation. This is a biological activation. You need to be fully present, fully awake, fully conscious. Close your eyes and bring your awareness to the base of your spine. Don't visualize anything. Don't imagine colors. Just feel the area. Once you can sense the base of your spine, speak this recognition statement out loud, not in your mind, out loud, because sound is frequency and your body responds to spoken frequency. The statement is this: I am not this body. I am consciousness wearing form. As you speak it, feel the truth of it. Don't hope it's true. Know it's true. Recognize that your awareness, the awareness reading these words right now, is not made of flesh. It's made of light temporarily expressing as flesh. The moment that recognition stabilizes, you'll feel a release at the base of your spine. It might feel like warmth. It might feel like a tingling. It might feel like a subtle unlocking. That's the first seal breaking. The fear frequency is dissolving. The first center is opening. Once you feel the release at the first center, move your awareness up to the second center, 2 inches below your navel. Bring your full attention there. Feel that area of your body, and then speak the second recognition statement. I carry no guilt. I carry no shame. I am divine expression in human form. As you speak it, feel the weight of guilt and shame lifting. Don't analyze where it came from. Don't process it. Just recognize that it was never yours. It was implanted, and the moment you stop carrying it, it dissolves. You'll feel the second center activate. The energy begins to move upward. Now bring your awareness to the third center, at your solar plexus, the area just below your rib cage. Feel that center, and speak the third statement. I am not powerless. I am the creative force choosing this experience. As you speak it, feel the shift from victim to creator. You're not affirming something you hope will be true. You're recognizing what's always been true. You are consciousness. Consciousness creates reality. You've been creating your reality all along. You just forgot. The third seal breaks. The power center activates. The energy continues to rise. Now, move your awareness to the fourth center, the area at the center of your chest. This is the most critical seal. This is where most people get stuck because the heart center is locked by the deepest illusion, the illusion of separation. Feel your chest, feel your heart beating, and speak the fourth statement. I am not separate. I am the infinite localized as one. As you speak it, let yourself feel it, not intellectually, not as a belief, as a direct recognition. The boundaries between you and everything else are illusion. You are not a separate being in a universe of separate beings. You are the entire universe, experiencing itself as this one point of awareness. The moment that recognition lands, the heart center will open. And when the heart opens, everything changes. The energy doesn't just rise, it explodes upward. You'll feel it flood through your chest into your throat, into your head. This is the moment the light body truly begins to activate, because the heart center is the gateway. As long as it stays sealed, the light body stays dormant. But the moment it opens, the transformation accelerates. Bring your awareness now to the fifth center at your throat. Feel the area of your neck, your voice box, and speak the fifth statement. I speak my truth. I declare my nature. I am monad consciousness in expression. As you speak it, feel your voice as power, not volume, frequency. The words you speak aren't just sounds, they're creative commands. The universe responds to consciousness expressed through sound. You've been silent. You've been afraid to declare what you are. That's over. The fifth seal breaks. Your voice activates. Now move to the sixth center, the point between your eyebrows. Feel that area and speak the sixth statement. I see beyond the veil. I perceive the infinite in all forms. As you speak it, you'll feel a pressure or a pulsing at the center of your forehead. That's the third eye activating. You're not developing psychic ability. You're removing the filter that's been blocking your natural perception. The sixth seal breaks. Your vision expands. And now, bring your awareness to the seventh center at the crown of your head. Feel the top of your skull. And speak the final statement. I am one with the monad. I am home. As you speak it, feel the recognition that you never left. You were never separate. There was nowhere to return to. You are already the infinite. You just forgot. The seventh seal breaks, and the full activation sequence completes. In the moment, all seven seals open. Chosen ones report the same experience. There's a sudden flood of energy moving through the entire body, not metaphorical energy, literal electrical sensation moving up the spine and exploding through the crown. The body becomes warm, sometimes intensely hot, because the cells are accelerating. They're beginning to vibrate faster. The shift is happening. Some chosen ones see light behind their closed eyelids, bright white or gold light flooding their internal vision. That's not imagination. That's the light body becoming visible to your inner sight. You're seeing your own frequency for the first time. Others report feeling like they're expanding beyond their physical body, like their awareness is suddenly too large to fit inside the skull. That's because your consciousness is no longer compressed into the brain. It's beginning to operate from the light body, which has no boundaries. The activation doesn't complete in one session. What happens tonight is the initiation. You're flipping the switches. You're opening the seals. But the full transformation, the full conversion from dense matter to crystalline light happens gradually over days and weeks as your cells adjust to the new frequency. You'll notice changes immediately. The first thing most chosen ones report is that sleep becomes different. You'll need less of it, and the sleep you do get will be deeper and filled with vivid dreams where you're being taught, where you're traveling, where you're meeting other activated beings. That's not your imagination creating stories. That's your light body beginning to function. It operates in dimensions that your physical body can't access. So when your physical body sleeps, your light body goes to work. You'll also notice that your energy becomes more stable. The emotional roller coaster you've been riding your entire life, the sudden crashes, the anxiety, the depression, that starts to level out. Not because you're suppressing emotions, but because emotions are frequency and your baseline frequency is rising. The low-frequency emotions can't maintain coherence in a body that's vibrating at light frequency. They naturally dissolve. You'll start seeing synchronicities increase dramatically. The universe will start orchestrating your reality with perfect timing. Things you need will show up exactly when you need them. People you're meant to meet will appear out of nowhere. Opportunities will open that you didn't even know existed. This isn't luck. This is the light body operating. When you're vibrating at that frequency, you become aligned with the flow of the monad's intelligence. and the monad's intelligence is running everything. You're no longer fighting against the current, you're being carried by it. The most significant change Chosen Ones report is that Archon attacks stop, not gradually, not partially, completely. You'll notice it within the first 3 days. The intrusive thoughts that used to plague you, the sudden waves of fear or despair or rage that seem to come from nowhere, they'll just stop. You'll be in a situation that would normally trigger you, and you'll realize you're not triggered. The attack isn't landing. That's because Archons operate in a specific frequency range. They can only attach to beings vibrating within that range, and once your light body activates, you're vibrating above their operational frequency. They can't perceive you. They can't lock onto you. They can't harvest you. You become invisible to the entire Archon system. And the moment you're no longer harvestable, you're free. You're not free because you fought them off. You're free because you shifted into a frequency where they don't exist. Jesus taught this activation sequence to his inner circle because he knew that chosen ones would need it. He knew that the world his disciples were about to walk into was controlled by Archons. He knew they would face attacks, manipulation, and persecution, and he knew that the only way they would survive and complete their mission was if they became untouchable. Not through external protection, through internal transformation. By activating the body of light, they would become beings the Archons couldn't touch. And history confirms this work. The early Christians, the real Gnostic Christians who practiced the body of light activation, were not afraid of death. They were not afraid of Rome. They were not afraid of persecution, not because they were braver than other people, but because they were operating from a frequency where fear can't exist. They had activated the light body. They knew they were infinite. And when you know you're infinite, what can threaten you? Nothing. Tonight, you're going to activate your body of light. You're going to sit in a quiet space, move through the 7 centers, speak the 7 recognition statements, and open the seals. This isn't something you do once and forget. You can repeat the sequence daily. You can move through it multiple times until the activation stabilizes. But tonight, you're starting the process. And once you've opened even one seal, the transformation is irreversible. Your body will begin converting, your frequency will begin rising, and you'll begin moving out of the harvest system and into sovereign consciousness. Jesus taught chosen ones how to activate the body of light because he knew it was the one thing that would make them truly free. Not free in some distant afterlife, free now, free while walking in flesh, free from Archon control, free from fear, free from the prison the demiurge built. The church removed this chapter from every accepted text because they couldn't allow it. If Christians knew they could activate their own light bodies, the church would have no purpose. Salvation wouldn't be something dispensed by priests. It would be something activated by recognition, and that's exactly what it is. You don't need to be saved. You need to be activated, and tonight, the activation begins. If you're activating your body of light tonight, do 3 things right now. First, comment light body activated below and commit to doing the sequence tonight before you sleep. Second, subscribe to Divine Codes because advanced light body techniques and full crystalline conversion protocols are coming in the next videos. Third, like this video, so other chosen ones discover the activation sequence Jesus taught before the Archons suppress this teaching again. Do all 3 now. Then tonight, sit in silence, move through the 7 centers, speak the 7 statements, and feel the seals break. You're not imagining this. You're not pretending. You're activating biological systems that have been dormant since birth. And the moment they come online, everything changes. You're not becoming something new. You're remembering what you've always been. You're light. You've always been light. You just forgot. And tonight, you're going to remember. The body of light is yours. Jesus gave the activation sequence to the chosen ones. It's been preserved for 2,000 years, and now it's yours. Activate it tonight.